My wife called and sobbed, "I need you, let me come home." After disappearing for 3 months, I said, "Okay," and stayed calm, because I'd been sleeping, eating, and living again without managing her moods. Hours later, she called my mom to shame me. And I am 28M operations manager at a logistics company. My wife Denise 27F and I have been together for over 6 years, married for 3. She moved back in with her mom 3 months ago after what she called needing space to work on herself, and now she wants to come home. Everyone in my family thinks I am being cruel for hesitating, but I am not sure I can go back to what we had. I need to be honest about what our marriage actually looked like, because I think I have been telling myself a story that isn't true. Denise has struggled with depression for most of the time I have known her. When we first got together, I thought I could be the support she needed. She had had a rough go of it, couldn't hold down jobs, had trouble with relationships, felt like the world was against her. I wanted to be the person who proved that wrong. For 6 years, I have been the only one working. She has tried a few different jobs, but something always went wrong. Coworkers were mean, bosses were unfair. The work was beneath her, the environment was toxic. After a while, we just accepted that I would handle the finances while she focused on getting better. But getting better never really happened. Instead, our life became organized around managing her mental health. I would come home from 10-hour days to find her still in bed. And instead of asking her to help with dinner or cleaning, I had just do it myself because I didn't want to add stress to her day. We stopped going out because social situations made her anxious. We stopped seeing my friends because she felt judged. We stopped having sex because she said depression killed her libido, and I didn't want to pressure someone who was struggling. I told myself I was being a good husband. I thought this was what for better or worse meant, that love meant sacrificing everything to support someone through their hardest times. 3 months ago, after a particularly bad week where she had spent 4 straight days in bed, I suggested maybe we could see a couples therapist together. I was exhausted, running on fumes, and I thought maybe a professional could help us figure out how to work as a team. Her response was explosive. "You think this is my fault? You think I am the problem?" "I don't think you are a problem. I think we need help figuring out how to support each other better." "You mean you need help figuring out how to fix me?" "I mean, I need help figuring out how to be a better partner without burning myself out." That is when she told me I was selfish, that I was making her mental health about me, that she couldn't handle being married to someone who saw her as a burden. The next morning, she packed a bag and left. For the first week, I was devastated. I called her constantly, sent long texts apologizing for being insensitive, promised I would never bring up therapy again. I begged her to come home so we could work it out. But something weird started happening around week 2. I began sleeping better. I started eating actual meals instead of just grabbing whatever was quick. I called my buddy Tyler for the first time in months, and we hit the gym together. By month 2, I felt like I was waking up from a long sleep. I was coming home to a clean apartment because I was the only one living in it. I was cooking dinner and actually enjoying it instead of rushing through it to bring her a plate in bed. I started reading again, something I had given up because she said the lamp kept her awake. I realized I had forgotten what it felt like to just live, not manage someone else's crisis, not walk on eggshells, not constantly monitor someone else's emotional temperature, just exist in my own space without everything being about whether she was having a good day or bad day. Last week, she called and said she was ready to come home. She had been going to therapy, working on herself, understanding why she had been so hard on me. She said she could see now that I had been trying to help, and she wanted to try again. "I need you," she said, crying. "I have been miserable without you. I cannot do this alone. But here is the thing. I haven't been miserable without her. I have been better." When I told her I needed more time to think, she called my mom, then my sister, then my brother. They have all called me since then to tell me I am being heartless, that marriage means commitment through hard times, that I am abandoning someone who is sick and needs me. "She is getting help now," my mom said. "Isn't that what you wanted? You cannot just dump someone because they are depressed," my sister added. "What happened to for better or worse?" But I keep thinking about something Tyler said when I told him Denise wanted to come back. "Dude, when is the last time you told me about something good she did? Not something you did for her, but something she actually did that made your life better." I have been trying to answer that question for a week, and I cannot come up with anything recent. Everything I can think of is about what I have done for her, what I have given up for her, what I have changed about my life to accommodate her needs. I feel like a terrible person for even thinking this. But what if I am not helping her by being her only source of support? What if I am just enabling her to avoid taking responsibility for her own life? And what if the reason I have been so much happier these 3 months isn't because I am a selfish asshole, but because I finally get to live my own life again? Am I really just dumping someone who is depressed? Or am I finally admitting that what we have isn't a marriage? It is me being a caretaker to someone who doesn't want to take care of themselves. Update 1. After reading your comments, especially the ones suggesting I contact Denise's therapist directly, I decided to call Dr. Hayes' office. I figured if I was supposedly contributing to my wife's mental health problems, I should understand how. I explained who I was and asked if I could schedule a session to discuss how to better support my wife when she comes home. The receptionist put me on hold for a few minutes. Then Dr. Hayes herself came on the line. "Mr. Brennan," she said, "I think there might be some miscommunication here. Can you tell me what your wife has told you about our sessions?" I explained what Denise had said, that I was controlling, that I made her feel bad about herself, that I needed to work on my own issues. There was a long pause. "Mr. Brennan, I need to be very careful about confidentiality, but I can tell you that is not an accurate representation of our discussions." "What do you mean?" "What I can share is this. I have been encouraging your wife to take more responsibility for her daily functioning and to consider how her actions affect her relationships. I have never suggested that you were controlling or that you needed therapy." My heart started pounding. "So what did you actually talk about?" "The sessions focused on helping her develop coping strategies for depression that don't require other people to manage her basic needs. We discussed the difference between asking for support and expecting someone else to handle your responsibilities. She told me you said I was the problem. Mr. Brennan, in 6 sessions, your name came up maybe 3 times, and only when I asked about her support system. The majority of our work has been about her building independence and self-efficacy." After I hung up, I sat in my car for probably an hour, trying to process what this meant. Denise had completely twisted what her therapist was telling her. Instead of hearing "take more responsibility for yourself," she heard "your husband is the problem." That evening, I called my mom and told her what I had learned. "Maybe the therapist got it wrong," she said. "Maybe Denise was just overwhelmed and misunderstood." "Mom, I need to tell you what our marriage actually looked like." For the first time, I told someone the whole truth. Not the version where I was a supportive husband helping his wife through depression, but the reality. I worked 50 hours a week while she stayed in bed. I did all the cooking, cleaning, errands, and bill paying while she slept until 2 p.m. We hadn't had sex in 8 months. We hadn't gone out together in over a year. I hadn't seen my friends in months because she said they made her feel judged every day for 6 years. I told my mom. I came home wondering what mood she would be in and whether I had done something wrong. I haven't worried about that. Once in the 3 months, she has been gone. My mom was quiet for a long time. Finally, she said, "Honey, that doesn't sound like a marriage. That sounds like you having a very expensive, very demanding roommate." The next day, Tyler and I went to the gym, and I told him about the therapist conversation. "So let me get this straight," he said between sets. Her therapist told her to take more responsibility for her life. And she heard, "Blame your husband." Basically, "And your family's been giving you shit for not wanting to go back to being her personal servant. They think marriage means sticking it out through hard times. Marriage means partnership, not martyrdom. What you are describing isn't supporting someone through depression, it is enabling them to avoid growing up." That night, Denise called again. "Have you thought about what I said, about coming home?" I called Dr. Hayes. The silence on the other end told me everything I needed to know. "Why did you call my therapist?" "Because I wanted to understand how to be a better husband, but it turns out you have been telling me the opposite of what she actually said. You had no right to contact her. I had every right to understand what I was supposedly doing wrong. This is exactly what I mean. You are controlling. You cannot let me handle my own therapy." "Denise, she told me the sessions were about you taking more responsibility for yourself. How did that become me being controlling?" She started crying. "I cannot believe you are attacking me when I am trying to get better." "I am not attacking you. I am trying to understand why you lied about what your therapist said." I didn't lie. I interpreted what she meant. You interpreted take responsibility for yourself as your husband is the problem? The call ended with her hanging up on me. Since then, she has been sending me long texts alternating between apologies and accusations. One day, I am the love of her life who she cannot live without. The next day, I am a cold, heartless person who is abandoning her when she needs me most. But here is what I keep coming back to. Dr. Hayes is a professional who is trained to help people with depression build better lives. If she is telling Denise to take more responsibility and develop independence, maybe that is exactly what Denise needs to do. And maybe me rushing back to take care of everything for her would actually prevent that from happening. Update 2: Denise came to my apartment 3 days ago without warning. I was getting home from the gym with Tyler when we saw her sitting in the hallway outside my door. "We need to talk," she said, looking from me to Tyler like he was intruding. Tyler glanced at me. "You want me to stick around?" "It is fine," I said. "Come on in." The three of us went into my apartment, and I could see Denise taking in the changes. I had rearranged the furniture, bought some new stuff, put up pictures I had had in storage. It actually looked like a home instead of a hospital room. "It looks good in here," she said quietly. "Different." Tyler grabbed a beer from my fridge. "I will be in the kitchen if you need anything," he told me, and I was grateful he was staying within earshot. Denise and I sat on the couch, and she immediately started crying. "I miss this place. I miss you. I miss us." "What do you miss about us, specifically?" She looked surprised by the question. "Everything. The way you took care of me. How safe I felt with you. What you did for me." "What did you miss about making me happy?" She was quiet for a long time. "I made you happy by letting you take care of me. You like feeling needed." And there it was. After 6 years, she would finally said it out loud. In her mind, her contribution to our relationship was existing in a state that required my constant attention. "Denise, do you know what I have been doing for the past 3 months? Probably living it up now that you don't have to deal with me. I have been learning what it feels like to come home and not immediately have to manage someone else's crisis. I have been sleeping through the night because I am not worried about your mood the next day. I have been cooking dinner because I want to, not because someone's too depressed to function. So you are saying you are happier without me. I am saying I am healthier without the dynamic we had." She started crying harder. "I cannot help being depressed. I didn't choose this. You are right, but you did choose to make your depression my full-time job instead of learning to manage it yourself. I am learning now. That is what therapy is for." "Then why did you tell me your therapist blamed me for your problems?" Her face changed. The sadness disappeared and something defensive took its place. "I never said she blamed you. You said I was controlling and making you feel bad about yourself. You were making me feel bad about myself." "How?" "By suggesting therapy. By acting like I was broken. I suggested therapy because I was drowning. Denise, because I had been doing the work of 2 people for years, and I needed help figuring out how to make our relationship sustainable. You wanted to fix me. I wanted to save us." Tyler appeared in the doorway. "Sorry to interrupt, but I could hear from the kitchen, and I have to say something." Denise looked at him like he had committed a crime. "This is between me and my husband." "Actually, it is not just between you two anymore," Tyler said, "because I have watched my best friend disappear for years while you sucked the life out of him." "Excuse me, you heard me. David used to be fun. He used to have interests. He used to smile. You turned him into your personal assistant and convinced him it was love." Denise turned to me. "Are you going to let him talk to me like that?" And that is when I realized something crucial. She wasn't asking me to defend her because Tyler was wrong. She was asking me to defend her because he was right, and she knew it. "Tyler," I said, "can you give us a few more minutes?" He nodded and went back to the kitchen, but I could tell he was still listening. "Denise," I said, "what do you think a good marriage looks like? 2 people supporting each other through everything. What does support look like, being there when someone needs you? And what does someone contribute when they are being supported?" She stared at me. "I don't understand. In the marriage you want us to have, what would you do for me? I would love you. How would you show that love? By being with you, by letting you take care of me. And what would I get out of that arrangement? You would get to feel needed. You would get a wife who appreciated everything you did." I felt something click into place. For 6 years, I had been in what I thought was a marriage, But what was actually an employment arrangement? I was the caretaker. She was the patient, and my payment was her appreciation for my services. What if I don't want to feel needed? I asked. What if I want to feel wanted? That is the same thing. It is really not needed means you have something someone requires for their survival. Wanted means someone chooses you because you make their life better. You are making this too complicated. I am making it honest. She left an hour later after cycling through tears, anger, bargaining, and finally a cold distance I had never seen before. You will regret this, she said at the door. No one else is going to take care of me the way you did, and no one else is going to put up with your need to be perfect all the time. After she left, Tyler came back into the living room. You good? Yeah, I said. I think I am. That was brutal to watch. Man, she really doesn't get it, does she? She gets it. She just doesn't want to accept it. What are you going to do? I think I am going to start divorce proceedings. About time. That night, I couldn't sleep, but not because I was upset. I kept thinking about what she had said about no one else taking care of her like I did. And I realized that was the whole problem. She didn't need a husband, she needed a caretaker. And I had spent 6 years auditioning for a job I never wanted in the first place. I called a lawyer this morning. Final update: the divorce went through faster than I expected. Denise initially fought it, then tried to negotiate, then finally just wanted it over with when she realized I wasn't going to change my mind. The process wasn't easy, but it was clarifying. During mediation, her lawyer kept talking about her mental health needs and the support she required. My lawyer asked a simple question: what has your client contributed to the marriage besides requiring support? The silence in that room was deafening. Denise moved back in with her mother permanently, which I thought would be temporary. But apparently, her mom got a very quick education in what I had been dealing with. According to Tyler, who heard it from a mutual friend, Denise's mother called me after about 6 weeks. I owe you an apology, she said. I had no idea what you were dealing with. She has been here 2 months, and I am already exhausted. I am sorry you are going through that. Don't you dare apologize. You gave her 6 years of your life. I can barely handle 6 weeks. She went on to tell me that Denise expected the same level of service from her that she had gotten from me. Meals brought to her room, someone else handling all responsibilities, constant emotional support without any contribution in return. I told her yesterday that if she doesn't get a job by the end of the month, she needs to find somewhere else to live, her mother said. I am not running a hotel for grown adults. My own family took longer to come around, but they got there. My mom finally understood when I laid out the actual numbers for her. In 6 years of marriage, Denise had been employed for maybe 18 months total. I would pay for everything: rent, food, utilities, her car payment, her health insurance, spending money. That is not a marriage, my mom said. That is a very expensive charity case. The financial freedom alone has been incredible for the first time in years. I can actually save money. I bought a new car, took a vacation, started investing. I forgot what it felt like to make financial decisions based on what I wanted, instead of what someone else needed. But the biggest change has been mental. I sleep better, work better, feel better. I have energy for things I had forgotten I enjoyed. I am reading again, playing guitar again, actually socializing with friends. Tyler and I have been hitting the gym consistently, and I am in the best shape of my life. I joined a hiking group and a book club. I am dating someone now, Rebecca, who I met through the hiking group, and the difference is night and day. Rebecca has her own career, her own apartment, her own interests. She adds to my life instead of draining it. When we have dinner together, it is because we both want to spend time together, not because one of us cannot function alone. She was shocked when I told her about my marriage. She expected you to pay for everything and do everything while she just existed. That is not depression, that is learned helplessness. I have learned a lot about the difference between supporting someone and enabling them. Support means helping someone build skills to handle their own problems. Enabling means removing all consequences so they never have to develop those skills. For 6 years, I thought I was being a good husband by making Denise's life as easy as possible. What I was actually doing was preventing her from learning to be an adult. Dr. Hayes reached out to me a few months ago. She said she couldn't discuss Denise's case, but she wanted me to know that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to enable someone's dysfunction. People don't change when they are comfortable, she told me. They change when they have to. I don't know what happened to Denise after she left her mother's house. I don't know if she got a job, found another caretaker, or finally learned to take care of herself. And for the first time in years, that is not my problem to solve. I spent 6 years believing that love meant sacrifice, that being a good partner meant giving up my own needs to meet someone else's. That, for better or worse, meant accepting any behavior as long as it was blamed on mental illness. But real love isn't about one person sacrificing everything for the other. It is about two people choosing each other and building something together. It is about both people contributing to the relationship, instead of one person being a resource for the other to consume. The relief I felt when I finally admitted our marriage was over wasn't guilt or selfishness. It was my soul recognizing freedom after years of emotional imprisonment. To anyone reading this who has been the stable one for years while your partner contributes nothing but problems, the relief you feel when you imagine them gone is your answer. I thought I was saving a marriage. Turns out I was just afraid to save myself. Best decision I ever made.